Hey guys, what's going on? I was gonna just take my kind of daily drive through TCG Player and eBay, looking at prices, seeing how the market looks, and seeing how things are moving, and just trying to catch up on things. So I figured I would just record it and talk out loud instead of thinking to myself. And I'm interested in feedback on some of these products, some of these things. If I say something about a product and you have an idea about it, let me know. I'm really interested to hear what other people have to say. So, first thing I've got here is just set boxes. And so I do this search. Set booster display is what I search for on TCG Player, and I just keep this tab open forever, basically. Um, Kaldheim 122 market price. Now, I always look at market price, not the current bigger printed price here, because the bigger price could be lacking shipping. Some dealers will mark down the upfront price but then make it up with shipping, or try to entice you to buy multiples so that they get breaks on shipping. So market price is really what you want to be looking at. 122 is interesting for Kaldheim. With how bad some of these old set boxes have done, Kaldheim's really stood out against them. It's been surprising. And also the draft boxes of Kaldheim, at least the last time I took a good look at them, they really weren't doing as well. So the set boxes had pulled well ahead. It was very interesting to me. Zendikar Rising, yeah, it's got that box topper. Expedition box topper that can be those great, uniquely drawn lands. So interesting still to see Midnight Hunt and Crimson Vow down here. Midnight Hunt's still at 91. Crimson Vow's come up to 110. It had got it up there maybe 18 months ago. It had started to pull ahead. It really makes me wonder what they did with the print run, that the set boxes of Crimson Vow pulled way ahead. We might initially think it's something like the list in that particular expansion was extra juicy, but there's no way. I mean, people wouldn't make bets on list pools because they're so erratic. Wild's Veldrain 123, that's good. Brothers War 115, that's okay. Modern Horizons 2 207, I'm surprised to see that. I figured it would have gone up a little more. We'd have to look into the enemy fetch lands that are in there and see what those are still at. In fact, I think I'll do that just real quick, since that's what we're doing today. So what are we gonna do? Modern Horizons 2, we're gonna go down. Come on. Come on. Wow. Modern Horizons 2 sets. So we'll do that. And then we'll start filtering card type, land, and we'll go rarity rare, which I think all the fetches are rare. Yep, there we go. And so we can see Arid Mesa 27, Marsh Flats 21. Huh. Okay, so they've actually come up a little bit, I think. Let's pop open several of those and just take a look. Yeah. So they've already come up a bit. Nice. So if you were waiting thinking more of those boxes were going to get opened and the prices weren't ever going to move, well, man, I'm surprised by that. That's cool to see how fast the prices have moved up. I had looked at one point and seen, I'd looked at the depth of some of these fetch lands for Modern Horizons 2, and it was just unbelievable. 3 pages of them, and you see a lot of these have multiples for sale, and some of them have just gobs of them for sale, 48 copies. So, yeah, it's interesting to see that they're already moving up in price. They're such a evergreen favorite. So $14 at the bottom and already up to a market price of, wow, 27. Where is it listing market price nowadays? There it is, 27. I was looking here. Okay, so yeah, wow. So the fetches are doing really well. And that's why it surprises me that these boxes are still only 208 at the market price. Going on, Kamigawa 135. So it's about to rotate here, I guess, in a month or so. And 135, that's surprising. I wonder if it'll see a big drop once it rotates. You'd think there are enough singles out there in the market now that if it was going to see a big drop, it would have already done it. Yeah, pretty flat for the last 3 months at least. Okay, well, that's interesting. That just feels kind of weird. You think a product that's going to rotate, let's go back in time to the beginning of May here. A product that's going to rotate in 4 months from May, you would think the market would be completely satisfied and had bought all it wanted, and yet, wow, about 10 boxes a week on TCG Player alone. It's really surprising. Strixhaven, 102, man. That's a little disheartening, but that was right in the middle of the Print to Oblivion era. You know, it's got the, golly, what were the special art ones called? It'll come to me in a minute. It's got all those special reprints of great classic cards. I mean, you can pull a Demonic Tutor from this box. Street, again, in the middle of the Print to Oblivion era, and not a well-liked set. So 101 doesn't really surprise me. March of the Machines, 118, that's pretty good. And Phyrexia, 125, that's good. You know, that was early 2023, and so WotC was already adjusting print runs and getting things fixed up. So it's not surprising to see set boxes there, and that's closer to the kind of prices you really need to have for stores to make money. Again, Lost Caverns, same thing. Good prices, and that was well into the second half of 2023, so print runs were already being well adjusted. So let's go to page 2. Are there going to be any boxes on here? I mean, there just weren't that many set boxes ever produced. Nope. And then the results go to other things. So moving on. Draft booster boxes. So I just searched for draft booster box, and you know, it'd be really nice if TCG Player would give us a way to just show all draft booster boxes, because sometimes some boxes don't come up on these searches. I think on my search for collector boxes, the Commander Masters boxes just never come up. And there's no specific search I've ever found on TCG Player that will 100% only provide you with draft boxes or collector boxes, etc. Unfinity, $82 market price. Wow. What's it been? A year? It wasn't a year ago. It was 2 years ago this came out. Yeah, 2 years ago. Wow. $82. Man, what a waste. Nuke Bina, Print to Oblivion era. Kaldheim, here's, like I said, $97 at market price for the draft box, where the set box was $122. That surprised me. Dominaria United, 93. I guess that's okay. Commander Masters, 272. That's good. 77. Golly. That's wild that it's still so cheap. 109 for Kamigawa. 116. Boy, that's recovered. How low did that go in the last year? 85 for Zendikar Rising. I'm always surprised at that, because that should have predated all the Print to Oblivion. You know, this was a... golly, was it late 2019 or early 2020? I don't recall. Okay, how low did this get? $99 down here. 92. Okay, not as low as I remember. I think my memory is remembering what I paid on bonus bucks sales, which would have been another 15% off of this. So yeah, 117. That's okay. Probably not good enough. Not as high as it should be. It's a wonderful, wonderful product. Commander Legends up to 152. Very cool. 73 for Midnight Hunt. Again, another product just overprinted and not a great product, not well received, just the wrong time period, everything. And Strixhaven, 93. Okay. I think this search will have some second page stuff. Yeah, Brothers War, 88. Oh, that's terrible. How is that possible? You know, WotC was kind of pulling up out of Print to Oblivion by that point. That was late 2022. By January of 23 with Phyrexia, they had really fixed the print run issues. It's just we wouldn't realize it for many more months. It's surprising to see those boxes so cheap. 218 for Time Spiral Remastered. This is one that just continues to surprise me. And the reason is, these are good boxes. They're full of some really, really big lotto cards. I mean, there are some $100+ cards in these boxes. Foil variants of cards that have never had foil variants before, things like that. And yet, the price just stubbornly will not move up. It's been shocking to me seeing how steady these prices of the price of these boxes has been for a long time. I bet it's going to be nearly flat for a whole year. Let's zoom this back. And so a year ago, 231, and today 218. Uh, I guess it's a mix of reprints and yeah, just too many reprints, too many products. I'm really surprised that the sealed box of that just has not come up. Double feature 155. Yeah, I was buying and opening this down in the, I believe, 120s. There's a while, about 18 months ago, when you could open this. There was a lot of arbitrage in these boxes because people love the cards for standard, and then the foils had an incredible foil multiplier when you were selling singles. Avengers in the Forgotten Realms. I'm actually a little surprised this is up to 95. I would have expected this to be lower because, again, right in the middle of the Print to Oblivion era and not a well received product. March of the Machines, 94. That's surprising that it's that low. I mean, it's as low priced as AFR. Universes Beyond, Lord of the Rings, 168. That seems okay. Commander Legends, Baldur's Gate. I opened over 200 boxes of this, draft boxes of Baldur's Gate to sell singles. I made so much money selling singles off of that. It was this great convergence of good cards. I mean, it was a set designed to support Commander. It had amazing cards in it that people absolutely just gobbled up. And then there was just this horrible attitude following the product. So no one wanted to buy the product. And so the price of the sealed box got pressed down in the market because no one wanted to buy the sealed boxes. But the price of the singles was always propped up because they were commander cards and there were really good cards in the set. So there were huge arbitrage opportunities on that for a long time. Phyrexia 104, that's actually pretty good for a recent draft box. And then it looks like we're down into other things. You know, before this kind of 2020, 2021 era, draft boxes on TCG Player were called booster boxes, so you have to go search for those to get the older ones to come up. Moving on again, play booster boxes. Now, you know, the interesting thing to me about these so far has been that Murders came out and it really bombed. You know, the boxes were down. I think they were below 100 for a little while. Card stores have to sell these things for like $140 to make money on this platform. And, you know, that means it's kind of comparable to what they need to sell it for in store to pay overhead costs and all those things to sell them to walk-ins and make money. And man, the market just has not by and large supported that yet. And that's on the standard sets, not the special sets. But 132 on Bloomborough, I mean, that's better. Let's find Murders. Okay, Murders, $90. Oh man, that's worse than I remembered. Wow. And then Outlaws, 132. Okay, a lot better. And then Bloomborough, the next standard play box, 132. Okay, so, you know, the market's kind of getting an idea of what it will support. Modern Horizons 3, 224. You know, I haven't really looked into that much to see if that's a really good price or not. I don't have a good feel for that one. Duskborn, yeah, 145 on pre-sale. Probably not worth buying that yet. Wait on that one. Okay, that's all the play boxes we have so far. Collector boxes. Bloomborough, a standard set, 219. Yeah, that's come down a little bit. I remember about 3 weeks ago we were seeing people post videos about how it was hitting all-time highs at 240 or something like that. Let's see. I hate that you can't just actually, yeah, 250 market. This thing pops up in the way and you don't know where you're pointing on the plot. I wish they'd fix that. Though I hesitate to complain because they shouldn't give us these data to start with. It's incredibly generous that they do, and they keep improving this display and adding more to it. So I do appreciate that, but man, when they added this and it covers the graph, that's really annoying. I'm surprised that got pushed to live. So 220 today, so it's come down about $30 a box, and that's kind of what you always expect to happen. I mean, you know, that's why I call it the TCG expansion life cycle. It's just, it comes out, it's high, and then it drops. People get their fill, especially on something like a standard product where more boxes are going to get open, more singles are going to flow into the market because the play boxes, the draft boxes, the set boxes are all cheaper. 166 for call time. Yep, nothing in there to really make this box set juicy or enticing. 168 for Infinity. I think these had the Galaxy Foil, like full art Galaxy Foil land box top or something like that. I forget. Or was that only in the draft boxes? Man. 170. Yep. Dominaria United, a cautionary tale to never forget. We'll leave it at that. Now, Zendikar Rising collector boxes. This is something that's really surprised me for a long time. It's that these have not moved up. 233, and they have 2 of the expedition box toppers, and then the regular packs within there can have foil versions of the Zendikar Rising expedition lands, which I think the last time I checked some of those, there were a couple over $100. Let's just take a look at that. It's under Zendikar Rising. Zendikar Rising Expeditions. You want to make sure you get Zendikar Rising Expeditions and not Zendikar Expeditions. And so, Zendikar Rising Expeditions. So we'll open a couple of the better ones of these. Let's see. Just take a couple. And then we'll go see what their foil versions look like. Wasteland, that's what I was looking for. You know, it used to show foil market price here. Do I have to filter to foil now to get that to show up there? Heavy play foil. Okay, $50. Yeah, I guess I have to filter to foil to make that show. $21. And Wasteland foil, $36. I'd have to look more thoroughly through those and find the one. There were a couple the last time I did a complete search of all 24, 25 cards in this little subset. There were 1 or 2 that were over $100. I don't remember which ones they were. But yeah, it surprises me that the Zendikar Rising collector boxes are still so low. Same with Dominaria Remastered. Too many great cards. Yeah, just way too many. The Tutors, Force of Will, Urza, the Incubator. Way too many great cards in this box. I mean, it's come way back up, and I remember on Black Friday bonus buck sale, I got several of these boxes. I'm going to say about $130. It was just ridiculous. What were they at the lows? $147 market. So yeah, it would have been another $22 off of that. So about $125. Yeah, $125, and that was November 6th through 12th. So they popped back up after Black Friday. People bought enough of them. They're still underpriced. Ravnica Remastered. You know, it's been interesting seeing how the initial reception of Ravnica Remastered was so negative because everybody thought it would just repeat Dominaria Remastered, and then it's fared a lot better. I don't know if they actually reduced the print run enough. It seems like maybe they did, because when I did my data videos of sales data off of TCG Player for Ravnica Remastered, we were seeing that the sales were way below those of Dominaria Remastered. It was something like only 20 or 30% of the sales that Dominaria Remastered had done a year before. But then Ravnica Remastered has gone on, and I mean, you see the collector boxes there, 308. So Commander Legends, yeah, this was one of the early ones that was really plagued by low print runs. This may be, I don't want to say the rarest, but it's certainly one of the rarest. It's also one of the few that I never managed to buy. I missed that one, and I think I missed Ikoria. I think those are the only 2 I'm missing. Well, only 2 old ones. 118 for Crimson Vow. Nothing great in there. I don't think there's any real long-term winners, and probably printed to oblivion. Same thing with Midnight Hunt, 122. Man, I just don't see those having a high likelihood of ever experiencing a huge upwards tick and just jumping way up all of a sudden. Now, 340 for Modern Horizons 2. This has actually come back up. I hope the 1 year will let us search back far enough. Yeah, see, they fell down from 370 and then came all the way down to about 295, and now they're back up to 340. I think these will do good in the long run, and like we showed a few minutes ago, those enemy fetch lands that are in these, you know, you've got all the foil versions, you've got things like the foil retro border versions of them in this, and then all the rest of the great cards that were in Modern Horizons 2. So I think these will do very, very well in the long run. I made a point of buying several of them over the last year or so when they were very cheap. I want to say I have 5 or 6 or so in the closet, something like that. Modern Horizons 3, $370 already. Just been out, what, month and a half now? Fallout, $510. I misjudged that one. I didn't think Fallout would be nearly that popular because it's just an old franchise that's kind of run its course. I called that one wrong. I think I have 3, maybe 4 of these boxes. Wilds of Eldraine, this has done really well. $283 for a standard collector box. Very good. $237. This has been a kind of a hard road for this product. You know, it was $260 to $280 on release week. Market price release week 2 years ago. We won't be able to see that all the way back on this plot, but then it just fell and fell and fell and fell, and you can see it bounce off the market bottom there on Black Friday. In fact, that's really interesting. 73 sold that week, and then back up to 237 now. What was the market price on Black Friday? 160. Wow. So yeah, done really, really well since then. I think it'll do well long term. It's got, again, lots of great cards in it, so there's no reason to think it's just going to do awful forever. It's just had to recover through 2 years of selling off all the inventory they printed of it. Go to page 2. Core set 21, $219. Yeah, a little disappointing, not entirely surprising. Assassin's Creed 222. That's a little disappointing too. You know, it's always so odd to see how, you know, Doctor Who can go one way and Fallout goes another, and Assassin's Creed goes another. Part of the problem with Assassin's Creed is it was smaller boxes. If they had made them normal size with the normal amount of cards, maybe they'd be $400 instead of $200, but they didn't. Brothers War 213. It's been pretty flat for a while. Original serialized cards in there, but, you know, standard set that's going to rotate soon. No, it's not in the block rotating in the coming months, is it? It's going to be next year. I can't remember which side of the line it's on. 136. Surprised to still see Karlov Manor this low. This is what it crashed down to right after it released, and it's still down there. A couple other places online have it more expensive, but, you know, in this one rare case, TCG Player is about the lowest. Kamigawa, such a roller coaster for this product over its history. Remember those neon Hitasugu cards had it bounce up close to $300 for these. I think it topped out around $280. It'll be too long ago to see on this 1 year plot, but it went up to about $280. Is that, yeah, January of 22 when it came out, and it came down a bit. Those Hitasugu cards were selling for what, $1,500 for the most rare, I think, red version for a while. March of the Machine 227. That's okay for a set that was only moderately well received. That's pretty good for it to be a standard product, moderately well received, a bunch of serialized cards. Yeah, okay, I won't complain too much. Outlaws of Thunder Junction 184. That's bad to see. It's bad to see that a standard set this year, the collector box is not doing that well. I don't know why. Don't get the reason, but it's unfortunate. Ikoria 306. Maybe I'll just bite the bullet and buy one of those on the next bonus buck sale. Pre-orders of Duskmourn 232. Probably a little much. I wouldn't buy that. Theros Beyond Death. You know, it's what are the couple of good cards in that set? There's like Underworld Breach. There's the Spear. There's, is it Helios? Only a couple of good cards in there, so I'm not terribly surprised that the set is only, that the boxes are only 204 at this point. What else we got? New Capenna 124. Nothing to say about that. Doctor Who was really interesting. I opened probably, I don't know, 70 or 80 boxes of these and sold singles out of them. Man, they sold amazing. I got, I think, 3 serialized cards out of them, but 273. So for a while, Earlier this year, they were down in the low 200s, and man, there was a lot of arbitrage opportunity in them. Go to page 3. Don't know. Oh, yeah, Phyrexia, 240. Yep, again, this is proof that the print run numbers were coming under control or were under control by January of 23. Phyrexia boxes only 200 or up to $240. You know, it's kind of the beginning of WotC getting things back in order. Ixalan 322. You know, that's what we would really like to see. That a standard expansion collector box 9 months now after it was released was about $320. That's what we would really like to see. I don't know what knobs WotC has to tweak every time. You know, Ixalan was a very well received set. I don't recall anything particularly juicy in those boxes in terms of chase cards, but the set was really well received, and maybe the print run had just been slashed to the bone. AFR 152. God, I think I have like 12 or 15 of these that I bought throughout, 21 and 22 when they were just in the pits. Maybe they'll come back one day, I hope. $200 for Baldur's Gate. Again, I can't recall offhand how many of these I opened. Like I said, I opened 200 plus of the draft boxes. I want to say I opened somewhere around 80 to 100 of the collector boxes to sell singles. Golly. And they were selling for something like 140 or 145 for a long time. I was buying cases of those, opening them, and buying more cases, and just like every week I'd get a shipment of cases to open and list. It was just so amazing for that time period. $89 for Aftermath. I wish they'd stop trying to do that. Throne of Eldraine. This was the original collector booster box, $237. I'm surprised. I'm surprised it's that low. You know, this is kind of the price that we would want a collector box from a standard set to be at as it's being released, for card stores to be able to make some money on it. And so to see this now, golly, 4 plus years later, Throne of Eldraine was at the end of 2019, I think. Lord of the Rings Special Edition, $600. Like, when did that happen? Let's go take a look at that plot. I was totally blindsided by this. I bought I can't remember, about a dozen of these a while back, and then I looked at them just recently. Yeah, look at this. So about 10 months ago, they were $275. So they've more than doubled in the last year. Yeah, absolutely surprising. I would not have guessed they would have done this. And original Lord of the Rings. See how those have done. So the ring was found summer of last year. That would have been around the bottom here, as it flash crashed down and then recovered. It recovered immediately a lot better than I was expecting it would have once the ring was found. So $365, and now it's $200 higher, not even a year later. It's done really well. I would not have predicted that. Okay, so I'm going to set this back to page 1 just so it doesn't surprise me next time. And we'll move on. Flesh and Blood. All right, so let's look at some original boxes first, and then we'll come forward to the newer boxes. Arcane Rising Unlimited, $95. We got Monarch First Edition, $62. I'm surprised how that's come back down. You know, it had a real breath of life, I want to say, about a year ago. And then it's just kind of sunk again over the last year. I think it's kind of having some growing pains in terms of the play formats that LSS has put forward. You know, they introduced a kind of legacy format once their quote-unquote standard format kind of moved on from these products so that people could keep using these older products. But I wonder if it's going to take a couple more years for enough new sets to come out that legacy format can become exciting enough to people that it kind of drives some more sales of these boxes in the long term. Everfest First Edition, $53. And we'll need to go to the second page here in a second. Yeah, I'll go ahead and go to the second page. We'll pick up Crew, Welcome to Wraith, Tales of Aria. So Tales of Aria first, $56. There's Crew First Edition. Get yourself a First Edition Flesh and Blood box for under $400. Crew Unlimited, $69. Remember, as always, there's way less of this in the world than we had thought for a long time. Tales of Aria Unlimited, we don't care about that. Where's Tales of Aria first? Oh, yeah, I already got that. $56. Welcome to Wraith first. Only one for sale. Something I had noticed recently when I looked on this was that people have been buying up the sealed cases. And the sealed case price for those early sets, Welcome to Wraith, Arcane Rising, and Crucible, had had exceeded the cost of just buying 4 individual boxes. And when I looked into the actual recent sales on each product's page, you could see that people had been specifically just buying up a bunch of the sealed cases, or maybe one person had been doing it. Only $1,000 for an Arcane Rising First Edition box. And then we'll get into a lot of the more recent ones are still close to map pricing, depending on how recent. Outsiders, Dynasty, all of your Fab 2.0 ones. Bright Lights. Yeah, so it's doing okay. Still a growing game. I still have long-term faith in it. I think it's going to do well. I think the management is still absolutely the right people to run it, and they're doing a great job. So I also think Sorcery is showing kind of the same ability. You know, I see a lot of things about Sorcery competition. I don't want to call it pro play, but, you know, high level play. And so I think Sorcery could be a competitor to Flesh and Blood at some point. We'll see. We'll see. Flesh and Blood has a huge lead on them. So already 14 expansions. Rosetta will be number 14. Pokemon. When I search for booster box on Pokemon, you know, it used to be a really nice search. It used to come up with all of these Scarlet and Violet era and Sword and Shield era boxes. And then maybe 3 or 4 months ago, TCG player changed something. And all of a sudden, it comes up with all of these out-of-stock old boxes at the top. And then it gets into the boxes that I care about. Stellar Crown 107 on pre-sale. SV07. Can you already believe Scarlet and Violet 07 is coming soon? $107. Yeah, that's all right. If you want to buy that to open, or if we get a bonus buck sale before it releases, definitely pre-order it at, what, under $90? Obsidian Flames 114, so that's SV03. You know, we could still see some more reprinting of that. All the Sword and Shield is done. Don't hold your breath thinking any Sword and Shield's going to get reprinted at this point. SV06. Now, this is one, Twilight Masquerade, that I wanted to talk about. 122 market for the box. That will definitely be reprinted. It is way too recent. It's been out less than 3 months. The market price is already 122, so there will be reprinting of that. Silver Tempest. This was Sword and Shield 12, $164. People were so negative for so long on Sword and Shield. It was amazing to watch it. Brilliant Stars, 181. That's probably the next one that's going to get over $200 market price. I think there's 5 already from the Sword and Shield era. Temporal Forces, number 5, $100. See, these are the kind of prices that Pokemon USA kind of wants. This is where they seem to be aiming. Paldea Evolved, 136. You know, that's the kind of situation where you look at, well, it's a 1.5 year old set. It's still standard legal, but it's $136. It'll probably see some reprinting, given that Pokemon USA owns a printing company. They'll probably reprint some. Scarlet and Violet base at 96. Rebel Clash, Sword and Shield 02, 217. It surprised me that Vivid Voltage and what was SWSH03, Burning. Vivid Voltage has stayed this low, $133. I guess it was kind of sucked into that era of overprinting. Darkness Ablaze, that's what I was trying to think of. Of course, that's moved up to $150 now. Chilling Rain, $218. It was being blown out under $100, and all of Reddit was pleading, don't buy it, it's garbage. The same with Fusion Strike, it's printed to oblivion. Yep, $236. Burning Shadows, wow, all the way back. And Battle Styles, the worst performer of the Sword and Shield era, $226. And that's probably going to put us through most of the, Sword and Shield and Scarlet and Violet era stuff. Now, we'll move over to eBay. I'll show you some of the dealers that I follow over here. You know, these are some of the big dealers who are so big they have special agreements with eBay for reduced fees. These are some of the folks who are distributors pretending to be retailers or distributors with their retail arm. And so the first one here, P Football Pete, 1.7 million items sold. So yeah, he's kind of serious about it. It's interesting to go through this. I kind of scroll through these on eBay maybe every other day and just kind of take a look at things, see if anything catches my eye. But it's a little more unfocused of a look through things because it's all products mixed up just the way I have the search results formatted. And it's stuff that I'm not interested in, like Yu-Gi-Oh! But it is interesting because it'll bring up things like Commander decks. And I can kind of keep an eye on that, see if maybe there's some arbitrage or there's something I want to put in the closet. Also, it gets me a look at ETBs. Now, it's always worthwhile if you're ready to buy ETBs, go check on TCG Player because it's always a toss-up of whether TCG Player or eBay will be cheaper. But there are definitely times when TCG Player, even with bonus bucks, is still more expensive than eBay because some of these huge dealers over here have such ridiculous pricing power. Bundles, yeah, I'm not a huge fan of bundles. I've got a patron who loves bundles and he does very well with them, but he gets them at a lot more preferential price. I think the gift bundles are really where it's at if you're trying to arbitrage these because they come with a collector pack. I think those are a much better value. And if you just compare like how many extra dollars are you paying at wholesale or retail for a gift bundle instead of a regular bundle to get that extra collector pack, it's a much better deal. So I don't even pay attention to the regular bundles. I'm only interested when the current expansion has a gift bundle. You also get all these other Pokemon products, things like this, the V boxes and the EX boxes and the collections and tins and all kinds of wild stuff like that. So I come through these and just kind of take a look at, what's for sale. Surprised to see Jumpstart. Original 2020 Jumpstart still here at $79. There were some time periods when this was selling somewhere around $68 and the singles inside had not been so reprinted yet. And there was a lot of good arbitrage on that. I don't recall how many boxes I opened, probably about 50 or 60, something. Jumpstart 22 had a period like that also. I keep meaning to make a video looking at One Piece and how it's done over the last 6 months, because I think about 6 or 8 months ago was kind of the peak of the final last gasp of like bro stonk TCG investing, where people were just kind of wildly throwing money at any speculative thing. And then it was right after that MetaZoo folded. Sorcery still looks okay, but I know One Piece has had somewhat of a pullback. I just haven't gone through and made a video actually digging into it and looking at it real closely. Lunch boxes. Sometimes there's some arbitrage opportunity with the booster packs inside of those, inside various Pokemon products. 198, for Commander Masters. I think that's still a great price. More One Piece, Yu-Gi-Oh, all kinds of stuff on here. So it's interesting to come over here and look at these pages. We'll go to the next one, Flipside Gaming, and they sell a bunch of other things, board games and supplies and like tabletop gaming, but they have Magic and Pokemon also. It's interesting to see what some of these dealers sell and what they don't sell. Action figures, Gundams, all kinds of interesting stuff. Sassy TCG. I think this one's just Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon. I don't think this one sells Magic. $151 Ultra Premium for $140. I haven't tracked the price of that in a while. I need to look back. I kept waiting for more 151 reprints and they just never came. I was really kind of flat-footed. I got a I got one case of bundles, and I got a case of ETBs, and I think that's it. That's all I got from 151. Yeah, it's just Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon on this guy's shop. Anderson Authentics. I think this is another. Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, One Piece. Does he have Magic? I can't remember offhand. Doesn't look like it. Lots of cases. So yeah, I'll come through here, and these are kind of the dealers that over time I've realized are the ones you end up buying from a lot if you're searching all of eBay. So when you search all of eBay, you'll generally come back to these dealers because they're the biggest and have the most pricing power. I mean, this guy, 3.1 million items sold, and he's all Pokemon. So yeah, so that's what I go and look through once a day, once every other day, something like that. Just checking prices, kind of keeping a mental roadmap of the market, where it's at, what prices look like, how things are moving, what I might want to buy, what might be worth saving for the next bonus buck sale, what might be worth going ahead and buying on eBay because it's so cheap from the huge dealers over here. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you're still here at the end, thanks a lot. I appreciate it. Let me know what you thought about this video. I might make this, once every 2 or 3 weeks, but just thought it'd be interesting to bring you guys along and look at this stuff. Thanks a lot.